Introducing Driving Deck. The only Steam Deck accessory for your visor. And welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Vince Stone, here in beautiful downtown Athens, Georgia. I'll be piloting this nightmare train this evening, joined every week by Jordan Swag and, of course, Sandrew Martin. And together with you, Shot Realm Dynamic, joining us live on Twitch, helping us form Bifurcated Canes of Justice. Cocaine Voltron.
Bifurcated Cane Go Lion is the Japanese translation
yes,
of Cocaine
that's
Voltron.
what it says in kanji. Yes, clearly. We got a big show for you this afternoon. Stay tuned. I had a little bit of an experience. I want to pick your brain on this. We've all carbonized a pizza, right? Do you know what I mean when I say carbonized a pizza?
I carbonized some oatmeal the other day when I'm like...
You're thinking to yourself, you're like, I was cooking a pizza. Damn it. And you go, you pull the pizza out. It's just a block of just sadness. Like there's no rescuing it. The cheese, it's all gone. It's just a brick. I almost did that with not a new food item, but I was busy doing some things and I didn't feel like cooking anything. And I'm like, all right, let me just chop up some potatoes, spray them, put them on a pan, and like just bake them, put some spicy Cajun seasoning on them and I'll eat them. Forgot about it. Then you get the smell of, that smells good, followed by that smells burnt.
Yeah.
Right. And we go pull them out. They weren't, here's the dark side. This is what I want to know. They were still technically edible. So have you burnt something not beyond recognition? And like no one would have ever faulted you for tossing it, but you're like, man, I can eat this. I can power through this.
There's definitely the opportunity cost of like, how hungry am I? Do I have the energy to make another one of these things? Do I like, if it's like a frozen pizza or something, do I have another one of these things at all? Like,
fair enough. My thought was like, how bad do I want to cut up my gums? That's where I was.
Okay.
I got about half of it done, and I'm like, I quit. Game over.
Yeah, there's no shame in like, stopping eating it and just like, no, this is unpleasant. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah.
I was like, I've proven my point.
Yeah, exactly. I went through it. I did it.
My blood sugar has leveled off, sort of, kind of. Not really, but, good enough for now.
Oh, man. Jordan was showing off his poncho for like 2 seconds, and he's like, he's like me with the thermostat. Like, I'm like, I'll cut the heat on. No, all right, no, gotta cut it back off.
Well, so my wife was nice enough to make me this giant blanket with a hole in it.
Did she do it by hand, or she's got like a poncho machine?
Oh, no, she did by hand. Yeah,
because in my mind, they have like the sweater machines. I just want to imagine there's one just custom made for ponchos.
I did have a friend who did have one of those like knitting machines, but this was all hand knit. I was wearing it a bunch all week, but now it's like it's warm enough in here. I guess the 6700 is belched, or the 7800 XT has belched out enough heat that I don't feel like super uncomfortable. But no, it's great. I dislike long sweater sleeves, so it's good. It's a very versatile garment, and I'm happy with it.
Sweet.
So remember how
we need
2
to, like,
weeks
slap
ago
a
I
GoPro
started working on the bathroom in the basement?
Yeah, the hole in the wall.
Yeah, the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
So
if you don't know, Sandy's like, it was chilly down here. I'm like, why? Because I knocked a hole in the wall.
Yeah, because I knocked a hole in the wall, and so I was, taking out some of the old insulation that was in there, and
did you
it's part of
find
the
pirate
exposed
treasure?
part of the house.
It's the Legend of Curly's Gold.
Maybe a body.
Well, I kind of, I did find a couple of pogs. Yeah.
Any good ones? Anything valuable?
No, just pogs. It was like a couple.
Yeah, you could get like a rare slammer or something that's like, oh yeah, this thing is like $500 or whatever.
Dude,
right?
I wish it was a slammer. A slammer's useful, but it's pogs. It's like if it's not a slammer, it's pretty much useless. Like, yeah.
Okay,
but I forgot to put the insulation back in.
Tell a story.
All right.
Yeah, so I forgot to put the insulation in.
Okay.
After last Saturday's show, and I had a couple nights of freezing minus 40 degrees Celsius.
All right, a little chilly. Maybe a light jacket.
Yep. And I forgot because I didn't put the insulation back in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Everything froze in the bathroom, sink, toilet, everything.
So now you're using it as a walk-in freezer.
Yes.
Huh.
But I have put the insulation back in ever since that I found that. So everything's almost melted.
I do remember one time a couple of years ago, Vin, you posed the question of like, if the power goes out in your house, what do you do with all the food in your freezer? I'm like, well, if it's winter, stick it outside.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sandy has like the walk-in freezer version of that.
Dude, I got to do that for like 20 seconds one time because like the power did go out and it's because it snows very rarely here. And I'm like, and I like grabbed 2 or 3 things out of the fucking icebox and I put them on the upstairs deck in the snow. And I'm like, look. And I'm like, then the power came back on. It was short-lived.
But you felt justified.
It was a minimized triumph.
Yeah.
Your opportunity came and you were ready.
The horse was just out there staring at me.
The horse just does that. It's like the creepy horse from Adventure Time. It just stands on the hill, stares at you, and screams, "James Baxter, it's the Steam
Update
of the week."
So,
ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Not to rumble, but to go, why the hell hasn't this been a thing? Steam now warns you if that early access game you're eyeing up has been abandoned by its developers. Yes, a nice little early access box. It's like, hey man, it's been like 14 months since somebody's updated this game. You sure you want to buy it? Now, it doesn't cover updates made outside of your main branch, so if they're doing updates to the beta, this might still pop up. You need to be aware of that. But this got me thinking. What's your number? I'm sure everybody's got something in your head, even though you might not even realize it. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how many months does that box, this little warning, have to tick over before you go, nah? Because that's the first thing I thought about. I'm like, if it says 3 months, I'm like, I'll probably still pick up the game. 6 months, we're getting dodgy. If I see like 9, 10 months, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to pick that up, even if it's on like some type of a crazy sell.
Well, I think the big thing there is like the it's under early access games, right? So it's kind of like if you see that, that's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't spend this money on this game that no one's updating. And this does PC Gamer did have an update to this story. Links to all this is in our show notes. But Valve confirmed this triggers after 12 months of either nothing being pushed to the main Steamworks branch, or if there are like various events that you can do that are like classified as updates. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't had one of those in 12 months, then this will pop up as well. I don't know, Sandy, to give you an opportunity to answer the question before I go on. But I don't know what's your threshold there, because like I think if this thing pops up at all, that's just like that's kind of a no-go for me, right?
Yeah, like like Ven said at the beginning, like you have to kind of pay attention if they're doing a lot of work in the beta branches, like and usually that'll still show up in their any of their news, like community news that they do for their project. This is especially for early access, but if it's a game and they haven't updated in 12 months or 14 months, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, early access for sure. 11 months is like the longest. I would be like,
I consider like 11 months abandoned, man. Like 6 months, I think's pushing it for most of us right there. Because like 6 months, what are you going to do? You're going to go investigate. That's what you're going to go do. You're going to go check the reviews, go check in the forums. I'm like, is this thing still around? Is this still alive? Because hey, let's face it, man. I don't think anybody like really plans to launch a game in early access, then abandon it. But it happens.
Like, I mean, and to that point, like I wonder if like now that this is being exposed, if like Pavel or any of the other Steam scrapers can like crunch some numbers, because I wonder how many projects are actually in a state like this. I wonder if this is just like if it is as bad as it feels, or if there's just been if we've just been particularly unlucky and all the hentai games, all the early access hentai games release on a timely basis and like get out early access.
We've had so many much beloved games that have been in early access for 7 to 9 years that we've kept track of that finally come out, like lo and behold. And sometimes they just slap 1.0 on it and push it out. But I have to imagine when you brought that up in the show notes, I was like, aha, they're going to make a search filter for this. So you'd be like, don't include games that have been inactive or whatever.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And I could also see this as being like a sort of self-pruning mechanism for Steam search, because what discoverability is always like the problem du jour of the Steam store, and a lot of that has to do with just like there's a ton of games on there, many of which potentially are abandoned. So starting to like if you just like exclude things with this flag or whatever from the main store carousel, maybe that helps visibility overall, and it encourages people, hey, keep your games up to date. Maybe this also encourages people to just like push one line changes and be like, I'll never get this message ever again.
Here's the other thing that we immediately got to break up. It was like, it's also going to be interesting covering how do people find ways to abuse this.
Oh, 100%.
As with every new toy that is given. I'm like, what are we going to do with that? So moving on. Everybody's got a Steam Deck but me. Literally.
Everyone else has had more deck than me.
Everybody's just got decks all over the place, man. And
indeed. But yeah, you might take your deck all over the place, in the bathroom, on the car, in the bus, on the plane, and it might you might have weak arms because you don't do enough curls and extensions, and you need some additional support. And so
the chest buster hugger,
yeah. So there's this thing called Deckmate that allows you to like clip things onto your deck, and someone has made a GoPro mount for it, and this makes it compatible with the litany of GoPro compatible mounts and accessories. And I think this is kind of neat. I will say GoPros aren't like super heavy, so I don't think I would stress test the strength of these arms too much.
I think we just need to spend more time looking at this actual image shot from the site, because
here's the thing.
Raw. Okay, go ahead.
This speaks to me personally as someone who plays video games on the toilet. I was a big proponent of maybe they're assless. We don't know. We can't see past the knee. So maybe it's just like all ass all the time. Maybe he's just shitting his pants. We don't know.
Well, maybe the dude, this is like his happy spot, because also the door's open.
He's got colitis.
The door is clearly open.
He's got colitis. He has a colostomy bag. Oh man, yes, the fucking Steam Deck warrior.
Yeah,
but yeah. Oh man, the 90s cell phone clip. I love it. But yeah, I think this is like really interesting in terms of like peripheral standardization, right? Because there's a lot of GoPro related accessories out there. A lot of folks would like to just have an arbitrary stand for something like this. So yeah, this is a neat little idea, and because it is just a mount and can be clipped onto theoretically anything, the world is your oyster. If you want to be the Steam Deck Knight, then you can gird yourself in Steam Deck pauldrons and Steam Deck helmets.
Like if you read the ancient scripture, Ben, if you attach 6 Steam Decks to your persons, you can unlock.
Yeah, you will just become a Power Ranger, right?
Yeah, damn right. Goddamn right. So we're still missing the best accessory though, because you put it on your head, you can put it on your arm. This is actually handy if you got GoPro stuff laying around, or you want to go buy that and set up on stand. I saw Mr. Alert in chat room was like watching it on a dock deck right on. Oh, well, I didn't even see the beeper clip. All right, a lot of these are, I think, for comedic reasons, but don't do that.
But it shows you like it's pretty flexible in what you can clip this thing onto.
It is.
Yeah.
But they were missing the one that we've been working on, FunkWorks here at LGC. It's our prototyping division here at Linux Gamecast. We're just going to close that down. And we've had our top scientist on this. And here, if you're watching live, introducing Driving Deck. The only Steam Deck accessory for your visor.
No, it needs more VR so you can like play a biking game while you're driving your car. Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. Just imagine how many less accidents you could have if you have a Steam Deck on your visor.
You can practice your driving while you're barreling down the highway.
No, you can play Manual Samuel while you're supposed to be actually operating your manual
transport. Dude, I mean, if you're like one of those people who play Truck Simulator, but you're also a truck driver, I mean...
you got to double fist the driving sims, yeah.
I legitimately see pictures of people posting like their mobile battle stations, and they have their wheels on their passenger seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mad respect to all of you, dude. Mad respect.
Man, that would be fucking hilarious. As if you like go for a ride along on a long haul trucker, and they give you the unplugged Player 2 controller so that you can pretend to drive the truck while they're driving the truck.
You fucking think I won't grab that? I'll be fine. Oh, dude, listen. Here in the States, I'd be doing that to fuck with like people like watching me. I'm like, you pull the wheel off. I'm like,
oh, what the hell?
Yeah, the little brother Player 2 controller.
Yeah.
Sure, you can drive the truck. Here you go.
Oh, nightmare fuel. And speaking of nightmare fuel, let's talk about the nightmare fuel that is based off of Alan's Trackmania dreams, Trackmania nightmares. Driving is hard. Man, this game. So you got to prove your skills by driving the bathtub on wheels. And apparently this game also has puzzles in it, which they're not really showing a lot of puzzles, but like it looks like it's a pretty interesting game.
Listen, man, synonymous with bullshit. Yeah, puzzles everywhere. Yeah, plenty of puzzles. Look at all those puzzles.
Yeah, man, the fucking the thumbtack landmine thing just gives me fucking hives. I do not want to have to play through that level, man. That looks terrible. And yeah, the main point of this game is that the main character of this, the guy in the bathtub, Jeff, he can't face his father's expectations, so you got to do it for him.
Hey, listen, the outdoor scenes kind of look like that game where It Takes Tub that we played.
Yeah, It Takes Tub. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, you can also collect soaps in there, so just don't drop the soap.
Ah, man. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's basically like a wash basin with like off-road like Dakar rally wheels on it, and just absolute chaos. It's $6.99. But yeah, dude, it's just we need more tub guy. At the end of the day,
you remember that Flash game Happy Wheels? This kind of reminds me of that.
No, it's got flames on his tub though.
That's true.
I dig
Makes it go faster.
And like $6.99, that's not a bad price.
No,
like that's kind of price.
We would all like to see online racing mode so we could tub together.
I want to see PvP for this.
Watch they add online PvP and it overtakes Rocket League by margins.
What was it? This is kind of like in the theme of like getting over it. You know, the guy and the pot with the thing. Then I watched the speed run that in like a minute. I'm like, what?
How much practice did that require?
Right. And yeah, just absolute chaos. It looks fun. It looks well done. I wanted to give him a plug. And again, all this is going to be in our show notes if you want to go check it out. But I'm really excited when I sort through every week on the Steam store. New games, the mountains of like, it's that porn game with a different skin back on it. Sort through those, and you see like little fun games like that. We find little gems. We find like good little puzzle games, stuff like that. Great to give them a shout out on the show. And every now and then you just mouse over because you have that animated GIF that plays
title card thing. Yeah.
Son of
It's a GIF, an
Sandy,
animated.
It took me a minute
GIF.
to remember which one was going to piss you off, Marcia. Shut up.
You son of a bitch.
So I ran across an early access for City of Strings, design and build drones to take down a corrupt regime and their army of clockwork robots. You get to snack about. It's steampunk and drones, everybody. It's also apparently a stealth game with action RPG elements, kind of all over the place, but damn, it looks all right, man. It does.
I get a little bit of Beyond
like,
Good and Evil vibes from it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
What I kind of gathered from it, looking at the trailer and the descriptions, is like you build your drones, you sneak into a place, and you find a good place to hide where you can pilot the drones to accomplish missions without getting caught because there are still like guards looking around. So like, I kind of agree with Ben. This seems like a very involved game, but it could have the sauce. Like if it has like really good like compelling stealth and drone gameplay mechanics, then yeah.
The graphics look dope as hell, dude.
Yeah, no, this definitely looks like far outside sort of like the indie scope of like quality.
Yeah, it's like somebody could do a game. It's definitely not, developer graphics.
Not canned Unity assets. Yeah,
no,
there's some proper like materials and assets.
It does require Vulkan support, so you can't work.
Ooh.
But here's the thing: God, I hate saying this. Get ready to skewer me. I worry about the game when it's only $7.99. Like, you look at the screenshots, you look at the trailer for this, nothing says $7.99. This says even in early access, this thing's like $20. I'm like, $20, then I'll be like, all right, maybe. Shouldn't do this, but it does make me worry. I'm like, what's wrong with it? Why are you so cheap? Am I alone like that? I'm the only one? Everybody else looks at this as, no, it's perfectly normal price. That's what we should expect for this level of game.
Well, and like I wonder if like it's priced that way to encourage people to like pick it up and try it out and like solicit feedback. Because that's the other thing. There's like so some people like upcharge on their early access because they're like, no, you're supporting the development. You're coming in at like a broken spot. You will get your ability to shape the game by buying in this way versus like, hey, I need people to like get in and test, and I want to have as low barrier for entry as possible. Yeah, it looks like some crazy drone shit happening while your main character kind of stays in the background and avoids explosions.
I'm definitely hoping that it's one of those types of games, like kind of like Minecraft, how they in the early alpha it was free, but then every subsequent major update they would increase the price until they hit that $20 mark that they were going for the end goal.
Now that does, if there's a clear indication on the page, because what was it, like 7 days to die when that thing went to like full release, dude? They like quadrupled the price of it.
Oh yeah,
because it was like $5, $7, something like that. If you let me know that on the page, and you're like, hey, when this comes out, it's going to get more. That makes me buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's not healthy for me. I'm like, you know, that FOMO. I'm like, oh, I can get a great deal right now for a game I'll probably play like once, like all my other games, and never touch again. So yeah. All right. Iron 2, Whiskers of War, George R.R. Martin.
Something like that. Stealing my joke. All right. Well, Tales of Iron 2 is out, and it is 20% off right now. You might remember the series from the first Tales of Iron game, where you play as a little cute mouse in a mouse guardy world, and you have to Dark Souls, or I guess more Salt and Sanctuary. They use a lot of Souls-like terminology here, but Salt and Sanctuary is probably the better comparison here. And yeah, if you want more of mousy dodge rolling and 2D brutal platform fighting, then this game is for you. However, I did take a peek at the reviews, and apparently a lot of the negative ones are basically this is a retread of the first game. There isn't really a lot different in terms of like new mechanics or even really new enemies, apparently. So take of that what you will. If you're looking for some more innovation, you might want to hold out until Tales of Iron 3. Screw you, George R. R. Martin.
Are you calling this? What do you call it? The House of the Dragon? Is that what you're trying to say this is?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I didn't mean to steal your joke. I really just saw that you did.
Yeah. I know. I'm giving you shit. But yeah, no. This is it is like if you've ever read like Dave Peter or Sandy, is it Sandy or Dave Peterson's Mouse Guard?
Oh no.
Dave Peterson.
Dave Peterson, yeah. Sandy Peterson is the Call of Cthulhu guy. I get them confused.
Yes.
But yeah, if you've read like Dave Peterson's Mouse Guard, it's sort of in that vein, except a little bit more grimdark. And yeah, I had never played the first one, so I can't really speak to the quality of it. But apparently, if you have played the first one, it is very similar to the second.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to like the first one, and I was like, okay, that's neat. These always stand out to me. I know most of you are like listening over audio because this is done with that art style. And I was trying to have a thing like, what game spawned that art style, and what am I talking about? Well, I think the first one that comes to mind, maybe this is an evolution of it, was like Paper Mario on the N64.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the originator of it. But yeah, like the sort of hand-drawn
cutout moving stiff joint movement is, you know, kind of like you'd made a cardboard
a marionette or something out of cardboard.
Darkest Dungeon uses this aesthetic. All of the
Salt and Sanctuary.
All of those games like Dishwasher and Charlie Murder. They also have that. I'm just forgetting the name of the developer who makes those.
Does that work? Do you still find it? Because I remember like the first time we were playing like Charlie Murder and stuff like that, and Salt and Sanctuary to a lesser extent. I played a little bit of that. In Darkest Dungeons, like I feel like I'm a little burnt out on that particular style. When I see it now, I don't have that same like, oh, that's neat and novel. Like now I'm like, eh.
I think it really depends on the implementation, because like if you look at something like Darkest Dungeon, there is not like a lot of animation happening, and they very much rely on like the fact that it's static images for like really to like when you get the critical hit, it just like snaps to the frame where you're just like beating the shit out of the guy, and like that gives a sense of momentum. Or like Sultan Sanctuary, where like this sort of janky movement is deliberate, and it like kind of all the monsters are kind of like these undead patchwork things, and it makes sense that they would move that way, right? Like versus like a game that just like, oh, we like the hand-drawn style, we're gonna implement it but not really like integrate it into the game. Doesn't do as well. This seems fine. Like I don't see like it's doing anything wrong. Well, it kind of gives that storybook vibe that like works for the game, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like just on top of that, like it's there's a consistency to the art. You know what I mean? Like whereas like you'll have some things like say Charlie Murder, where like a lot of the art doesn't, like the sprite art doesn't match the background, if that makes sense.
Cohesiveness.
So cohesiveness. Yeah. And like there's different things that you can do to like add to this style of like animation, like where you can add more shaders and stuff like that to really like kind of take away from the actual animation to make it more, I don't know, theatrical. But like Jordan said, like camera zooms and like just stills at certain points with camera zooms, like little aesthetics like that can go a long way from taking away from like the obvious like marionette look that they have to it.
And you know, this is very well done. It's very well done. I was like, I don't have anything against it, and like it's on sale right now, $19.99. I wonder if you can mouse roll though. Does it have dodge roll?
Yes,
it does. Okay,
you do see it in the trailer a few times.
Okay, I was like flipping through, and also, and why in fantasy games? Who came up with the hard rule that at some point a giant frog has to try to eat you?
I want to say Thumbelina.
All right.
Okay.
I didn't know where that came from. Like I was watching the trailer and I'm like, "Where's it? There it is. There's the giant frog trying to eat."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I honestly, I think Thumbelina. That's the one that pops in my head.
What was that mouse game we played? Mouse RTS.
The strategy, the strategy one. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name of that.
It was great.
That one also had a very similar art style, and it was very like dumbed down RTS too, where you play the guy and you got to like rally the dudes.
Yeah,
and,
it was fun.
Yeah, it reminded me of Brutal Legend. Brutal Legend had a very similar setup.
Yes.
Brutal Legend was like a weird one. I quit playing Brutal Legend when because like it's a stealth RTS game because you don't realize it's an RTS game until like 2 hours into the game and you're like, what the what? No,
yeah. But like from a gameplay perspective, that game, which I'm just completely blanking on. If I Google mouse RTS, I'll probably find it. But yeah, that uses a very similar system to like something like Overlord or Brutal Legends. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Sandy, you love snaps, can't get enough of them, and no one's ever gonna make you play with those filthy, dirty, nasty flat packs or app images.
Yeah, I hate those universal flat packs that work on every distro.
They work on ARM. I've been using some flat packs lately. I'm like, yes. that's a time saver. Why are we talking about flat packs? So it's silly.
Oh, because there's been a recent update to the Flathub, and that update adds a new section for games. So it adds like a little title cards to each section. So you'll have games, you'll have emulators, game launchers, game tools. He says, oh God, I had his name written down, but he said that they're going to be adding more tabs soon enough. But yeah, he definitely wants input. Raz.
Raza.
Yeah, like traditionally we'd see like trending popular news, but if you go all the way down to where us filthy, dirty gamers hang out, they're on the go education. There we go. We
a bunch
love
of
games.
dirty, filthy bottom gamers.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, they have some real games up there. Earlier in the week, it was like Solitaire, and that was it. I was gonna say we need some cooler games at the forefront, but yeah, Serious Sam Classic. There we go. Blurble. It's not Wordle. New York Times, don't sue us. Cartridges, which I looked at, is just another Lutris clone.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to get to the real mystery here. Midnightmare Teddy, which I was like, the fuck's this? Because that sounds like a game I would have heard of. And like, you look at the graphics of it, and I'm like, all right, well, there's not much to it, but where's it on Steam, and where can I find it? This thing only exists on Flathub, to the best I can tell.
Crazy.
It might be a Flathub exclusive.
The one thing that caught my mind that I completely forgot about was they have a Flatpak for Tabletop Club, which is the open source reimplementation of Tabletop Simulator. Yeah.
Right on.
So yeah, look, maybe we'll set up a board game night on Thursdays and do some like board games through Tabletop Club if they have. Got to see what they have implemented though.
Now, like going through like this list brought back some old memories. If you've been an old timer like me, you've been playing your video games on Linux since the 90s. Get off my lawn. Was like,
what the fuck is Journey? This man's face upsets me.
Dude, it's a 2D platformer based on Community's digital estate planning app. Obviously. See?
Oh
my God.
Oh, yes, it's this one. It's this one from Community. Holy shit, someone actually made that game. It's hilarious.
It's made in love. Go check it out. Version 1.10 is available.
Yeah, if you lose the game, you get written out. The whole plot of the episode was in order to get written into the guy's will, you have to beat the game.
Oh, okay. I can see this. I'm down with this. And see, what's happening right now is something that I kind of missed going through like sites that don't exist anymore, like happypenguin.org. That was like gaming, and linuxgames.com was browsing and stumbling across weird shit like this, you know, people just making it for the love of making it. And this Flathub thing is really good at that. Like once you get Flathub set up, you do it, and it's basically a one-click install, and you can just play around with it. And it's way better than what we were doing back 20 years ago, having the games folder of like,
yeah,
good to see. Were either of you fucking around with Linux back in those days? Did you ever go to happypenguin.org? Did you ever see like linuxgames.com?
I think I saw linuxgames.com
when
I was looking for
was one of them.
When I first got Free Orion set up on Ubuntu, I think it was it was
Open
like
Civ,
7
Free Orion, all the Doom, Quakey Dooms, and man, Quake 3, Open Q3A.
Yeah, the feature's way better than way back then. Yeah. We have way more games on Linux.
You know what? We were grateful.
Yes,
we were grateful.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But you know who's not grateful? The developers of Playnite, aka Joseph Nemec. No, he's fine. He's fine. I was gonna give him a whole bunch of shit, but like the post here on their GitHub. So for those of you who don't know, Playnite is another one of these cross-library game managers. You got games on Epic, you got games on Steam, you got games on GOG, you got games on Desura for some reason because you're the Desura diehard. But you want to have them all in a single location, and you might consider using something like Playnite if you are on Windows. Use Lutris or Heroic if you are on Linux. But someone came in and said, "Yo, where's the Linux version? Are we gonna get one of those?" And the developer says, you know, maybe one day. But he has a good take, I think. So he says this project is done in .NET and uses a UI framework called Avalonia. That is not, while .NET is cross-platform, or at least as some parts of it are, Avalonia is not, and it doesn't make sense to just try and redo the UI in a Linux-compatible framework, especially if you're not going to offer any sort of like Linux-specific useful features, because you don't want to like just port this game launcher or library organizer over from Windows to Linux, and it just doesn't really do anything beyond like, oh, you can launch a game. Everything can fucking do that. So he wants to look at adding stuff like Proton version selections and like other such integrations before he starts looking at implementing a Linux version, which I feel is perfectly fair. That's a very reasonable thing to say. I will say though that after looking at like cartridges in that last story, we have too many of these library organizers. I like that like people want to like start projects.
I just had a great idea. Hear me out. What if we make an organizer
for the organizers?
For the organizers,
right? Yeah, and like this is where we're getting at. Is like a lot of these guys do the exact same thing. I get something like Bottles versus Lutris, right? Where like they have Bottles is more aimed at like general software usage. Lutris is like specifically for games and covers stuff outside of wine. Heroic and Lutris have probably a lot more crossover there. But like I think at least in that regard, there's some healthy competition in terms of like they're implementing X,
Right.
Lutris is implementing Y, and they quite liberally steal from each other as well. So it's not like there's any sort of like real rivalry or like Sharks versus Jets thing happening. Strider may come in and tell me otherwise, but you know,
Yeah, whatever.
I would want to see a boxing match between the Lutris devs and the Heroic devs. I think that would just be very entertaining.
Dude,
I think it would have to be a dance off 100%.
No,
one of the
like a
things I want to say
WWE
on
style
here,
Royal Rumble.
dude puts a bow on it right here at the end. He's like, Linux version, definitely something I plan to work on in the future. As far as a Mac OS version, how times have changed. No idea about that. It's definitely something I would look into sooner than having a Linux version more or less done. So here we are in 2025 where the idea is like, yeah, there's a possibility of Linux like Mac. I don't know about that, man. Maybe not. We'll see. Like, this is where Linux was like in 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
How that turns
100%. 100%.
What the hell you got against .NET?
Oh, I don't like .NET.
Shit.
I don't like it.
I mean, pick your battles, homie.
Like,
no, we need Scott versus Sandy in a .NET off.
I'd watch it.
.NET.
Yeah, like legit. Scott is like our .NET subject matter expert here. So if anyone can talk shit about .NET, it's Scott, right?
100%. 100%. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think like most people on Linux, like my experience with .NET was having to get that shit set up on Wine and like keeping your fingers crossed that it worked.
yes.
I have the joy of having to deal with .NET on Linux in a professional context. So
Whatever happened to like Mono?
Mono's still around, but they're saying like for older stuff use Mono, for newer stuff use .NET Core.
Really?
Yeah.
Microsoft
Yeah, I think they're coming out with a new version of Mono where it's like double the efficiency, and I think they're gonna call it stereo.
Stereo.
You know what I say?
Laugh at that shit. He thought about it. He's tried.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
God damn it!
Golf clap.
Baby steps.
We tried. An attempt was made. F for effort.
Yes.
So yeah, Playnite, it exists. Don't hold out hope, and
Especially if you're a Mac user.
It double so. Credit to the developer because the dude showed up. Luke, where's my Linux port? And the guy's like, here, man. Let me hear you out. Other than like get stuffed, closed won't fix, right?
Yeah,
that's what we like saying.
Yeah, if you're gonna port it to Linux, like, hey, make it actually useful for Linux.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
fair, completely fair.
How many people have AMD CPUs? Just me.
I only use Zilog.
All right. Except this fucking hipster over here in Toronto, man. Too cool. A lot of AMD. Been buying AMD for a long time. I got a little wall over here with like one of those shelves. Thanks, Trugs. With like a history, like going all the way back to like my AM2 and all the way up to Threadripper. Now it's like got shit stacked on top of that with a Zen, the first gen Zen. And a lot of that's taken place though with one socket, AM4. Started with the launch of the 1700 plus. 1700X, then the 1700, and then we got, Zen came out. We were all waiting for it, and that's where we got our AM4 socket. Looks pretty much the same as any other socket, except it says AM4 on it. Gives you a hint right there on the tin. When did that take place? Oh, about 9 years ago. The cool thing about it is it just keeps on ticking, man. This comes from TechSpot because apparently AMD's like crunched some numbers, and they're like, 3 years into the launch of the new hotness, Socket AM5, AMD says sales are still 50-50 between that and AM4. Why? Tell you why. Because you built the Hyper 212 of sockets, AMD. That's what you did. It's just too damn good. People don't want anything else. Then again, even looking at the roadmap though, man, 100% I wouldn't rule out, new AM4 in 2025 because that little arrow kind of sneaks over into 2025. Like we might be getting new AM4 based CPUs. All right, let's go. More Ryzens. And yeah, dude, what do you think about Jordan? You seem to think like this long-lived socket policy is a good idea. Now it's not great for motherboard manufacturers, but
or even chipset people who want to sell like new chipsets. But yeah, like this has been a thing. We had AM2 plus to AM3 and AM3 plus for like Bulldozer and stuff. So AMD has been doing this long-lived socket thing for a while, and it's been great for us consumers because you don't have to buy a new motherboard every time you want to upgrade your CPU. you can, maybe you need to do a BIOS flash. Maybe some features in your motherboard aren't, or some of the CPU features aren't going to be like fully supported, but it still works. Intel figured out that, hey, if we want to make just fist over fist of money, make people buy new motherboards with every single generation of CPUs.
I want to say it was like Coffee Lake, because I remember us talking about it like in a pre-show and a post-show, where they changed like 3 fucking pins on like,
right, yeah,
they're like, new motherboard, new socket, guys.
It's kind of egregious, but it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because AM3 was stuck on dual channel memory for a very long time, while tri and quad channel memory was moving forward on the Intel side. We have that now on AM4, but like you really are kind of stuck waiting for these generational leaps with like the new generation of sockets to get all the new features. Is that a good or a bad thing? It's kind of a neutral thing depending on what your use case is. But overall, like we're seeing the success of like the 5600 and 5700G. Those are still fantastic CPUs. Even in terms of like power envelope, like the new generation of APUs just can't fucking compete, right?
They run hotter, they use more power.
Yeah,
they are faster. It's linear, but
yeah, but at a certain point, if you're looking for that compact package, you are also looking at power and thermal requirements as well. And yeah, they are faster, but it's like marginally faster as well. It's not like a huge generational leap either.
Yeah, this is true. This is like one of the things. Like slow adoption is a gang of things. A lot of stuff Jordan just covered, and like I think for me, like it's like 5 years now, we've been living in a world where GPU prices just go up. Like 100%. Used GPU prices just stay static. And you're like, the fuck, man, what am I going to do? Because, if you're getting a new socket, that means you got to take out your motherboard, you got to buy a new CPU, usually new RAM.
Yeah, oftentimes new RAM.
Yeah, dude. And when you're thinking about doing that, you got AM4 here going, I can get by on this, or I can just, buy something a little bit faster because you have that entire library of, starting from like Zen 1, because I was able to take like this Tomahawk B350 that I bought. It was first gen Ryzen, and I was able to stick a 5600G in that thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I had to flash it. And now, of course, the motherboard manufacturers, when those started coming out, went, that's impossible. Can't be done. You got to buy a new motherboard. You got to update. There's no way. And then, like, the thing happened. And they're like, oh, fine, here. And it worked, which was kind of brilliant. But you're just going to sit on that, man, and like spend your money on your GPU, depending on who you are. Sandy, when you are, what is the fastest system AMD-based system that you have in your house right now? Don't you dare say that Steam machine.
5800X.
5800X?
Yeah, and that's the Dreamcast 2 with the 6400 low profile.
All right. What socket is that?
AM4.
AM4 X3D or just the X?
Just the X.
All right, so it's 8 cores, 16 threads. And here's another thing. They're cheap.
Yeah. 100%.
They're cheap.
Even if you don't want to go like the used route, even like new in a box.
In a box, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this with like the Steam Deck, right? Like, and it's on RDNA 2. We have RDNA 3 based APUs already. Like, it's good enough. It's good enough for like the performance level that you're expecting to hit. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are, and especially when people like started off with like the 1700X, and they're like, oh, but I could just upgrade to the 5800X 3D, which is like one of the faster gaming CPUs, and that's it. I'm good. Like, it makes sense that AM5 adoption is definitely a lot slower, and like, heaven help them if they try to launch AM6. That's just gonna.
They just call it Threadripper, you assholes.
Or do you think they might do like a 5 plus or like a 4 plus or something?
Oh no, I'm still bitter about Threadripper.
The plus.
We by the way, during this time, 3 generations of Threadripper sockets.
Oh my god!
During the same amount of time. Why? Fuck you, pay us.
Yeah, if you can afford the Threadripper, you can afford to buy a new motherboard every day, right?
Okay, that's where they altered the deal. Gen 1 and Gen 2 were, if you could scrape together about $1,000, you could build a budget workstation. It went from that to, if you can scrape together about $3,600 for the CPU.
Yeah. That's insane.
It got crazy, man. It got crazy. But here's one thing, man. With x86, I touched a little bit of this on Wednesday. Come watch me and Joe. We do weekly daily Wednesdays right here on Twitch. We record it live, 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, there you go. Is we've not seen in, a leap in CPU technology. It's been incredibly linear for what? 10 years? More than that, really. Like they've just got just like marginally faster. We get more cores, and it seems like we've topped out at like 12 to 24 cores or something like that on the desktop parts.
We kind of hit like that. Remember, like the bulldozer Mobo melters, like, oh yeah, this is a CPU that runs at 5 gigahertz, right? And like we've seen a couple of 5.5s, but they're like, yeah, we burst to this, and this is like the top of the line model,
right, dude. Yeah, it's like the one core does it for like a femtosecond, and they're like, yep, 5 gigahertz all the way, baby.
Yeah, 5 gigahertz.
Yeah, and so now they went to like core density, and we're kind of seeing diminishing returns there because people aren't writing threaded software still.
It's hard, man.
Yeah.
Dude, and it's hard to get excited about like this, and especially like I will bring up that, my day in, day out drivers, if I need a PC before cutting on the Threadripper and all this crap in here, I got like these 5600Gs laying around. That is overkill for a fucking desktop PC. You can pick up something like that, you can play some video games. So, you know what? I'm surprised that ratio is only 50-50. You could have told me and sold me like it was 70-30. I'm like, all right, there we go. But I'll tell you an architecture that I've gotten a little more excited about. Why? Because there are quantum leaps. Exaggerating a little bit, but shit's changing. It's changing fast. There's chaos in the market. There's new stuff to play with. And I'm talking about ARM and also RISC-V. RISC-V framework just released their RISC-V board. And it's reasonably cheap. It's like $200. But I've talked about it on the show. I got a couple of ARM boards, and one of them that you can almost buy now is the Radxa O6. And why was I interested in that? Is because it's got an ARM SoC from a new company, CIX, and it's 12 cores. And it's fucking fast, man. However, the software's still in a bit of a state, so I decided, let's hold off on a review. Look at that beautiful box. It's even got a product inside the box. I mean, now how much would you pay? About 240, 280. But yeah, A720s, more A720s and A520s make up the package. Vulkan 1.3, OpenGL, OpenCL, all that. It's got the NVMe hole. And I thought it was kind of neat, man. Multi-core, though. Let's take a look at some benchmarks, because I didn't do a full-on review of this guy because of the software. We're waiting on that. This is like early days, man. At the beginning of the video, I take some painter's tape, some gaffer's tape, painter's tape. Those two are very different. If I use gaffer's tape, it would peel everything off, and wrote dev kit on it, because this is not like a Raspberry Pi. What was it like working with Raspberry Pis in the early days, Jordan? It was chaos, wasn't it?
It sucked. It did. Like
a lot of fucking around, a lot of building your own shit, right?
A lot of building your own shit. Nothing worked. Working in that 128 megabyte memory footprint.
Yeah.
Ass.
Well, to give you an idea where this is at, man, you got 3 options. You can put a custom Debian 12 image on it. You can put a custom, look, I got Fedora on it. Look at that. Fedora V-Force. What the fuck's that?
V-Force.
Vagina Force.
Sure, man. It's a remix edition made by Fedora-V-Force. And it's got a UEFI. This is like the promise of it. You can go in there and set it to ACPI mode. And in theory, you can just boot any generic ARM Linux distro. And right now, the only thing that works with that is Debian. But it does work. Like, you just pop in the generic and it boots up, and you're like, hey, would you like to install? Rocky boots up. I got Rocky loaded up, but it couldn't get it to install yet. But they're working on that. Hopefully they're going to get it finished. But the reason I want to bring it up, because I was like, hey, can you play the video games on it? Because it's got a Mali. Oh man, did I write it in show notes?
You did not.
Damn it.
No.
Anyway, it's got a Mali, I think 720 is what it's called in there. At the end of the day, we got some Geekbench number digits, if you're worried about that. Single core performance. This thing is not competing against your Raspberry Pi 5. It is not competing against your Rockchip RK3588 based systems. No, it's not. This thing's having aspirations of eventually competing against the Apple M1 SoC. So that's what we're looking at right there. And it's about 24% faster in VK Mark, but we'll take a look at that right there. Just Geekbench 6, Geekbench is not a real benchmark. That's why it says scientific number digits. But, it's within spitting distance of that in single core, but I'm not terribly, there's a rock chip right there pushing in your actual numbers. So the M1 gets 2300, the O6 gets 13, the Rockchip 3588 gets 798, and the Raspberry Pi 5 gets 795. That's single core. That's cute. The game changes up though, because in multi-core, it's about 24% slower than the M1, but it's twice as fast as the Rockchip-based 3588s that I got here, and it's almost 3 times the performance over a Raspberry Pi 5. That's kind of interesting. And let me be very clear. On the desktop, with their Debian image, it's going to hopefully get better. Like, there's a lot of promise in this board. Just how it is right now. This thing is freaking fast, man. With the NVMe Gen 4, you light that up. You click on Chrome, it's quicker than it is on my desktop right now with a 5600G. Like, it is done. So I got high hopes for that, not having to play with a Asahi Linux on an overpriced used M1 or M3 or whatever we end up with. But I did play some VK Mark, everybody's favorite game. It's a G720, that's what it is. Compared to the G610 and the Rockchip 3588, a little bit faster. It's a little bit.
That's decent.
24%. Yeah. And like I said, we're just at the days right now. To give you an idea of the state, this motherboard, ITX is a system on a chip, if you're wondering. SBC, I should say. Everything's built on the board. It has removable storage. It's got PCI Express, but, like every other single board computer, your RAM's going to be soldered on. And you're not going to be able to swap out the, not without like a hot air gun because of the BGA attachment. But VK Market did all right. One of the questions I had, I'll be doing a full review of this in probably like 3 months. I'm going to get things sorted out. But I had defeated a couple of things, Jordan. I did. Because
I asked. I did.
How about we put a Radeon 3100X onto an ARM board, plug it in, and it just runs. Then I installed this board onto an NVIDIA 2060.
Yes, that is the appropriate way to sequence that. So.
Yes. Yeah. And I installed the binary drivers. I compiled them for NVIDIA. The damn thing works, man. The damn thing works. And
crazy.
Yep.
The potential is so there, but we got to wait. It's like a rocket-powered Lamborghini with wheels made of ham. But
the important thing, does it run Quake?
This blew my mind. Yeah, this is VK Quake 3. I compiled this, got it up and running on the integrated, the built-in the Mali 720 at 4K, and it's just smashing up against that 90 FPS limit. And if you grew up like I did, playing Quake 3 like on a Voodoo 3 at 1024 by 768, like struggling to we didn't really know what FPS was back then on our CRTs, but we're like trying to make it less choppy. Yeah, this thing just obliterates stuff. If you're looking for a dev board, I personally, I'm going to say for like 99% of you out there right now, wait, because this all hinges on CIX's roadmap. Head over to interfacinglinux.com, and you can scroll down here. They got a little timeline, and CIX is ARM China. They're the ones who made the SoC, and they've made good on the BIOS and operating system binary images, which obviously would be a pretty shit product without that if you couldn't bring it up. But they say in Q1 of this year, they're going to be releasing the BIOS and Linux kernel source code. Believe it when I see it. But if they pull that off, and the tools for building images, this is going to be the coolest damn single board computer that you can buy. It's going to be like the thing because it's so damn fast, and the expendability, Jordan, of just being able to shove PCI cards in there.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm eyeing something like this to replace my main home server because why run it off of 5600G when I can run it off something that sips way less electricity? I
can explain. I didn't have time to type it up because I make it very clear. This is development hardware.
Yeah.
Jeff's got one too, Jeff Gerling. He noticed it as well. When you plug it in and you check the power on it, it's like 14 watts at idle, which is hella high for an ARM board. That should be sitting at maybe 3, maybe 2. And that just to give you an idea of like, I can't promise you, like, here's my engineering guesswork gut feeling on this. That value was set was like, what's as low as we can set it without having to fuck with anything, and we'll go back and fix it. Like, let's get it shipped. It runs like this, as long as it doesn't drop below this, everything they're going to run. And I mean, it scales linear. That should get fixed. Like, because I don't think it's going to be like sucking 12, 14 watts at idle, but it does currently right now. You need to be aware of that. You don't want to just well, I mean, then again, that's so little watt. Being old is weird, man, because you think like 14 watts, you're like, that's nothing. We used to have like 65 watt light bulbs, man. What the hell are you talking about? So keep all that in mind before you buy. I don't have like product links or affiliate links or anything on it right now. Like I said, there's links to the Radxa page if you want to try to order one, but maybe hold off. Maybe give it a think.
Or wait for like a new generation of it, because like this is only Gen 1, right? Like
this is Gen 1.
Not even like Gen.
I would say Gen
5,
0.
.8.
Well, this
like
is
Gen
CIX's first product.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a little company research on them for the actual review. Bunch of smart people working there, man, from around the industry. Like they're with the equivalent of your upstart, like trying to disrupt some shit. So
yeah.
We'll see, man. What is do you have what's your only what ARM devices do you have laying around the house, Sandy? Outside of your mobiles?
None. But honestly, like after watching your video the other day, like when you dropped it in Discord, dude, like I was just like, this is sold me on ARM ITX motherboards. Like just how
it's
well I was
cool.
surprised how well it turned.
Yeah, like just the idea of having an ARM ITX motherboard. Like, wait, what? All right, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, even like
yes.
the impressive thing to me is like this thing comes in swinging on the M1, and the M1 like has Apple's R&D behind it, which is like billions of fucking dollars and like thousands of man hours. So yeah.
Well, this is the whole thing. Like you've played around with Rockchip 3588 systems, right? And they're about 4 years old now, but those are generationally faster, like 50% faster than the SoC in a Raspberry Pi 5, which is not a slow board.
No.
Now, if you play with one of my side projects for another thing I'm working on is because Collabro, we've talked about them on the show, working with the Panfrost drivers, the open source initiative for the Rockchip 3588 and the like with Mali G610s, is they're bringing that up to speed. And once you get that installed with the Bleeding Edge Mesa, which I got on one of these machines, like desktop type shit, dude, it's just like, this is great. I was talking about it previously, and this is twice as fast as that. So it's you're like, wait,
strange times, interesting stuff. Dude. Yeah.
Also, you gotta have a heat sink and fan on it.
I like the little plexiglass plate it comes with, because you gotta keep the fingerprints off of it. You know?
Dude.
Yeah.
All right. I need to buy the what I wanted to do. I might do it for the review. Maybe let's go check in the after shows and see what like the biggest gnarliest server case we can find.
No, you gotta find like one of those old Univac cases and cram that in there.
I want something that'll actually accept like the ITX on, because it'll be like nice and clean. But I want the equivalent of like the postage stamp sitting in there, and then we can water cool it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna wrap us up. Head over to Interfacing Linux if you get a chance, dude. Go watch the video. It's about 6 minutes. I kind of covered. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff that we do over there. Wow, that's already went up like almost 1,000 views since I just, people are watching this one. They're curious about it. Join in on the comments and talk about what it is. Oh, I found out how much HK100 is.
I saw that too. I was looking at the comments, like, oh, they got you a little something.
He's like, oh, come here, a little taste. I was like, oh, shit. All right.
a little cherry on top.
That is what I was saying. I was like, then I'll look that up, how much that is.
Oh, like $5.
Well, okay, I was like, I'm gonna get some shit for this, because that was my first. I was like, God damn it! Now people are gonna be like, it was like $6. Yeah. I'm like, get fucked. All right, I didn't.
It's the gratuity. It's like when you go to Starbucks and they hand you your cup of coffee and they're like, "Do you want to tip me?" I'm like, I guess I have to because they're paying you like shit, but like, no.
So totally fucking sold out on that one, guys. I was like, I'm glad it was like $6 instead of like something crazy like that. All right. Hey, if you like the show, talking about like blowing money, man, head over to linuxgamecast.com. you like what we do, we'd like to hang out with you more. And you can get more of us in your face, chest, and neck by becoming a patron. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. You're listening to this show on audio and you're like, I like the cut of your jib, guys. I would like maybe an extra hour, an extra 2 hours, sometimes an extra 3 hours each and every week delivered to you in podcast format. We got you covered. Why? Because as a patron, you get a custom RSS feed, not just for the live and uncut show, but the 30-minute pre-warm-up session, a little bit of a green room that we get into every week. And we make the videos available to you as well. And to thank you for that support, get access to our Discord, show notes, a bunch of different tiers, and your name in the credits. Thank you so much, making the show possible. We also got LibrePay, PayPal, and of course, the cryptos. And everybody's got a little wish list. Just head over to linuxgamecast.com/support if you want to help us out. We'd be very appreciative. And come hang out with us. We do this show live, 8 p.m. every Saturday. And of course, we got Baldur and Gate here, the crime hunting detectives of Middle Earth.
Yeah, I know. We solve mysteries just like the Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I was thinking about that earlier this week.
It just
if you ever wonder
gets
why
worse and worse.
in that first episode they just keep referring to themselves as detectives throughout the entire episode, like to the point of like, is this supposed to be a joke? Listen to the DVD commentary.
Yeah, we're detectives, you guys.
Yeah, the entire 100%, commentary, because they were like, we can't buy the pilot unless they have something to do, and you're like, so we just made them detectives. Yeah.
So, solving the mystery of where did Carl's skin go?
Yeah. Go check him out. You guys, 7:30 p.m. Eastern here on Twitch.
Yep.
Linux Gamecast. Everything's probably just going to be like linked down on the bottom. But that's going to do it for tonight. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. See you next Saturday. I'll be back Tuesday for the Trackmania. Come pop in if you want to do that. Or don't. I'm not your boss. Yeah. Anyway. It's time to cue that music. I just told you where you can find us, baby. It's right over here on Twitch. Come hang out. I'm on all the social medias too. Just do a search for Vince Stone. It's me and wine. Because there's like Stone Wine Company, or whatever.
Wine Stone, yeah.
Wine Stone, dude. I'm on the Mastodons. I'm on the X. I'm on the Blue Sky. We got a Facebook. I think that's it. I get this in the interfacing Linux because I got a fucking Threads thing for it. Man, who the fuck uses Threads?
I am Jordan. I do not have fine wineries available to purchase high quality. I don't know what the fuck I'm going on
yet.
I'm gonna sell them and make a really, really crappy movie. I don't know why I'm on about Megalopolis right now. I'm Jordan. Find me on Blue Sky at Frojo at bsky.app, Frojo at mass.linuxgamecast.com on our Mastodon. Sandy, who the fuck are you?
I'm that guy named Sandy Martin. You can find me only on one platform, and that's Mastodon. So you can get me at Altimore at mass.linuxgamecast.com.
Do you think that's like one of the biggest problems with Mastodon? Because you're like, fuck, what is it again?
What is my host?
Yeah.
They really do have to improve the searchability a little bit. I don't know. That was the big problem I had with Lemmy, but that's a conversation for another day.
Time for some credits.
You can deck and drive as long as you're driving a bicycle. Well, we gotta. It's that time of the week again where we thank all the people who make this show possible. We gotta thank our advisors. That's who comes first. That's our Theron. We gotta thank our executive producers 134, Ian, Isheb, Kraducky, Thotargos, Drummer, Barbara Amp, Scott, Atomic, and our Little Nicky fans, Eggy, Basil, Empty, and Casey. We got the Sea Monsters.
Yeah, like DSN Joe, John, Dirty Dean, Angel Dementor, System TRL, Rider X Machina, and the Mahaya, Veritanuda, Truggy, Mike, and Kaijo Rai.
We got Death Notes with Redisk, Mark, Terra Oil, Pope, Chad, Romeo, Turnover, Steveless.
Steveless, yes.
Steveless.
And all of our beautiful chairlings and our Libra players. Thank you so much. Get out there. Have some fun.
Someone needs to do the version of Heartless, except it's Steveless.
Don't wear Steveless shirts. All shirts need to have Steves. Keep that in mind.
Or else.
Always.
Or else. All right. See you, everyone.
Good Steve to you.
Good Steve. Marklar. Marklar? No, it's easy. Watch. Marklar. Yeah, it's
Marklar. Yeah?
Marklar.
5 dudes.